Hi dear students, the next micro lecture I'm going to take is on gastric adenocarcinoma. So there has been a question in the recent NEET examination, NEET MDS examination regarding gastric adenocarcinoma. The question was the most common gastric carcinoma is. It is the gastric adenocarcinoma. Okay, the name is adenocarcinoma. So it's something related to the glandular structures, and you know there is adenocarcinoma of salivary glands. There is also adenocarcinoma of lungs. And remember, one additional point is that the most common salivary gland neoplasm is mucoepidermoid, but whereas the most common gastric carcinoma is adenocarcinoma. Also note that the most common lung cancer is also adenocarcinoma. So both gastric and lung is adenocarcinoma, and salivary it is mucoepidermoid carcinoma. Okay, so when it comes to some general points, it is that the gastric carcinoma in general I'm talking about is a third most common cause of cancer death. Cancer death, the third most common cause of cancer deaths overall. Okay, now next point is about the incidence, about the pathology, that is incidence of this overall gastric carcinoma. As I told you, the most common gastric carcinoma is adenocarcinoma, and it comes to around 85%. Okay, 85%. You will have different books saying different references, and this is taken from Harrison. Okay, now other 15% includes lymphomas, the gastrointestinal stromal tumor, and leiomyosarcoma. Not very much important, but the most important thing here, just for the completion's sake, I've included the others. Just the most important thing here is most common is adenocarcinoma. So now, whatever is the most common, you have to know a little bit of details about that. Okay, any most common lesion. Okay, though we are not much bothered about the stomach, the most common lesion, they can ask you something related to that in NEET. Okay, now the next point I want to discuss with you is about the subtypes. Okay, again not very much important. Okay, there are two subtypes of what we're discussing about is adenocarcinoma, gastric adenocarcinoma. Okay, so the two subtypes are, one is diffuse type is there, and there is also intestinal type. So diffuse type and intestinal type. Now diffuse type means it's overall diffused. Okay, now understand that there is no cell cohesion, there is no cell adhesion. So as a result, they just diffuse around, they just infiltrate around, and overall thickens the stomach wall. Okay, so it's diffuse type, and that is it's there is no cell cohesion. Okay, and as a result, they simply infiltrate, just spread. Okay, and overall thickens the stomach wall. And the molecule which is associated with, or which leads to absence, or which causes adhesion, is E-cadherin. And here what happens is there is mutation of this E-cadherin. Okay, the proteins coding for the E-cadherin, or I would say the gene coding for E-cadherin is being mutated, and as a result E-cadherin doesn't get synthesized, and as a result you get the absence of cell cohesion, and you will have a generalized thickening. So what does it mean, there is generalized thickening? That means there is no swelling, there is no mass, simply thickening of overall stomach wall. Okay, now as a result, there is overall thickening. It leads to what is known as loss of distensibility. The stretching capacity is lost. Okay, stretching capacity of stomach is lost, and this appearance is known as, importantly, linitis plastica, something related to plastic, isn't it? Linitis plastica or leather bottle appearance. Okay, leather bottle appearance, much more histopathological. Okay, or linitis plastica. Why is it that? Because of thickening there is loss of distensibility. Okay, and this one, the diffuse type, has got poorer prognosis compared to that of intestinal. Okay, now when it comes to intestinal, there is cohesion of cells. Okay, and as a result we get a mass or a lump. Okay, there is cohesion of cells, there is group of cells combined, you get a mass, and as a result we get a gland like tubular structure. Okay, there is a tube kind of thing. Okay, glandulars, that's why adenocarcinoma, adeno means gland, so it's glandular appearance is there. And more commonly, rather than thickening, we get a mass, and the mass is ulcerative. And and this intestinal type is associated with H. pylori infection. So this is the questions you can get. Intestinal type is ulcerative. Okay, there is a mass, and it is the intestinal type which is much more commonly associated with the H. pylori infection. Okay, whereas the diffuse type has got some other etiologies which will come later on. Okay. Now, so here three things which you have to remember is, one is the E. cadherin molecule being affected, and Linitis plastica, leather bottle appearance. Okay, and when it comes to the other side, which is the intestinal type, where you get a gland-like structure and ulcerative associated with H. pylori infection. Okay, now one more thing, the most common location of this adenocarcinoma, it is the proximal third of the stomach. So proximal third, middle third, distal third is there, isn't it? So of which the most common, or 40%, okay, is from the proximal third of the stomach. Okay, so that was about the pathology. Now we come on to etiology. We have got different etiologies, of which the most common, most serious etiology is nitrates, which is present in some of the fast foods, the dried foods, smoked chickens and smoked beef, all those things, and salted foods. All of them contains nitrates, and this nitrates is converted to nitrites in the body by the bacteria. Okay, this nitrate is converted to nitrites in the body by the bacteria, and which is carcinogenic. So this nitrites is carcinogenic. That's one etiology, remember. Okay, then as we told, it's H. pylori infection which causes atrophic glossitis. Okay, inflammatory atrophic glossitis. Remember, lichen planus, the atrophic type is much more carcinogenic, isn't it? Similarly in the stomach also. Okay, it's not glossitis, it is gastritis. Okay, gastritis. Okay, it's just need to correct. Okay, it is gastritis, not glossitis. Okay, now the next one is, the third one is gastric surgery. Okay, if the patient undergoes gastric surgery, what is going to happen is that, now remember, if there is loss of acidity, okay, if there is loss of acidity, if there is no acidity, okay, or decreased acidity of stomach, which can lead to cancer. Okay, now what happens in gastric surgery is that the area where the acid secretion, HCl secretion, is being lost, if it is lost, then it can lead to decreased acidity and it can lead to cancer. Okay, now another very common etiology is again, it's not glossitis, atrophic gastritis. Okay, atrophic gastritis, I'm sorry for that. Okay, we are very much used to use the term glossitis. Okay, so it's gastritis, atrophic gastritis. What happens here is, there is metaplasia of the gastric mucosa. You know, that's gastritis. So gastric mucosa is converted to intestinal mucosa, and slowly by slowly this is an abnormal type of cell, isn't it? So it can lead to cancer. So atrophic gastritis. Okay, then less common causes, definitely if there is some ulcer, okay, associated with ulcer, then polyp, adenomatous polyp, hypertrophy, remember this term, hypertrophy of gastric rugal folds, the rugae, the gastric rugal fold, and it has got a typical name which is Menetrier's disease. Okay, Menetrier's disease, MENETRIERS, Menetrier's disease. So it's one important point, not important, but just to know. Okay, Menetrier's disease, which is actually a hypertrophy of the gastric rugal fold. And remember that blood group A compared to other blood group has got more more chances of getting this particular adenocarcinoma. So what did we discuss in etiology? One was it's associated with nitrates, it's converted to nitrites. Okay, then H. pylori, definitely. Gastric surgery in why? Because less acid secretion. Then atrophic gastritis, which leads to metaplasia. Okay, and less common ulcers, definitely polyps, hypertrophy of gastric rugal folds, which is called as Menetrier's disease, and blood group A. Then we are coming on to the next part, which is clinical features. Now the reason why I'm writing it like this and explaining is that I don't want to waste time in writing things, because a 10 minutes 15 minutes lecture will suddenly become 45 minutes lecture if I just write it things. Okay, so that's why, just to go quickly and so that you can revise at a later stage, you can use the same video for revision. Okay, then that's the reason I'm using this kind of method. Okay, now the clinical, like unlike our normal lectures where we write and teach, but these are areas where you might get some question, but not very important, not very important, I would say. Everything is important if it's asked, but it's not very important. So coming on to the clinical features, one very typical feature is blood in stool. So there are lots of features, okay, stomach upset and all those things are there, but some very typical feature, one is blood in stool, and yes, diffuse seborrheic keratosis. If you just Google it, you will see the picture of that. Diffuse seborrheic keratosis. Okay, it's like a pigmentation of the skin over all the body, and this sudden appearance of this diffuse seborrheic keratosis is a marker of internal malignancy. Okay, it's a marker of internal malignancy, and this is known as lesser Trellat sign. So there is sudden appearance of this keratosis, okay, which is a marker of internal malignancy, is known as lesser Trellat sign. And in oral pathology, we studied a lesion called acanthosis nigricans, and again it's a marker of internal malignancy or gastrointestinal tumor. So these three things we have to just note. Okay, now the spread, about the spread of the lesion, it can either spread through lymphatics or it can cause a direct extension or hematogenous. Okay, some very important things only I am discussing here. Lymphatic spread is most commonly to ovary, and this lesion is known as Krunkenberg tumor. Okay, Krunkenberg tumor, Krunkenberg, Krunkenberg tumor, and most common site of hematogenous spread is liver. So most common lymphatic spread is to ovary, and it's carcinoma, so definitely more lymphatics will be there, but yes, there is hematogenous spread also to the liver. Finally, we come on to the last part, which is the surgery, okay, or I would say which is the treatment part. Okay, and definitely it's a radio resistant tumor, it's a relatively radio resistant tumor, so surgery is a treatment of choice, and depending upon the location, we said the most proximal 1/3 is the most common site, and if it's seen in the proximal as well as middle area, we go for a total, or you could say that there is near total, that is entire the stomach region is removed, near total gastrectomy. Okay, near total gastrectomy. And if it is a distal part is being involved, then we go for a subtotal, that means less kind of more conservative. Okay, subtotal gastrectomy. Okay, and as I told you, it's relatively radio resistant. So a very quick review about the gastric adenocarcinoma. Okay, just giving you some idea about the most important points out here. Okay, the most important point, it's the most common type of adenocarcinoma, is the most common type of gastric carcinoma. Two types, diffuse and intestinal. Diffuse, this E cadherin is being affected. Okay, I can't use that red, isn't it? So I should be using some other colors. Okay, I'll try using this. Okay, E cadherin, okay, is a molecule which is affected here, just leading to loss of cohesion. Then these terms called Linitis plastica. Okay, Linitis plastica, leather bottle appearance. Okay, leather bottle appearance, other name because of thickening. And intestinal type, which is basically the one which is showing the typical gland-like pattern. Again, this color can't be used. Gland-like pattern. Okay, gland-like pattern. Okay, then it's ulcerative associated with H. pylori. The proximal third is more commonly affected. Then definitely yes, nitrate is the most common etiology, and other H. pylori, gastric surgery, atrophic gastritis, and this term, that is Menetrier's disease. Okay. Then we have clinical features. We have lesser Trellat sign, that is diffuse seborrheic keratosis, and acanthosis nigricans. Okay. Then spread lymphatic over, that is Krunkenberg tumor. Then hematogenesis to the liver. Treatment near total and subtotal. Okay. Now, if you can't remember anything, just at least remember that adenocarcinoma of stomach is the most common tumor of stomach. So if it repeats, at least you can go for it. Okay. So that's it for this session. I'll stop it here. We'll discuss some other topic in the next day.